Guys, it's Kyle with the Aries Fight Series, and this is what happened last weekend at the world famous Cotton Eye Joe in Knoxville, Tennessee at Aries 20. Starting off the prelims, we had Noah Jones debuting from Team NKI in Knoxville, Tennessee. He faced Trayton Byerly, 1-0 from London Martial Arts in London, Kentucky. This was the first bout of the prelims. It was a catch weight at 140 pounds. Juniors Muay Thai match. Both guys looked really good, especially Noah Jones for this to be his debut kickboxing match. The filling out process, first round, both guys, you could tell just a little bit of jitters. It was exciting. Once they settled in round 2 and 3, both guys were in and out inside the pocket, throwing blows. But in the end, Trayton Byerly won the decision. But I would love to see Noah Jones come back come back to an Aries event soon. The next bout, Sajid, I don't want to butcher your last name, brother, debuting out of Agogi Combatives in Chattanooga, Tennessee versus Daniel Collinsworth. This was also a Muay Thai bout. It was a featherweight bout at 145 pounds. Both guys looked really good. Daniel Collinsworth, with those spinning kicks, he threw some really good, almost karate style, but he looked really good in there. However, Sajid was outstruck Daniel considerably and ended up getting the decision in the second fight of our prelims. Next, two women, absolute warriors. Asia Pack out of Striker Fight Center. This is the Atomic Blonde, Kennedy Hunley. Was also Kennedy Hunley, excuse me, from London Martial Arts in London, Kentucky. They came out in full force from London. But this was also a Muay Thai bout. It was at 135 pounds. This bout, you could tell Kennedy Hunley, the Atomic Blonde, had a lot of boxing. Asia Pac, traditional Muay Thai. She looked really good in the clinch. However, forward pressure, a lot of punches, a lot of overhands, and even body work. Kennedy Hunley just appeared to be the better fighter on the feet. She won that fight by decision. Look forward to see the Atomic Blonde again in an Aries cage. Next fight, it was a welterweight. It was our first MMA match of the night. Billy Wright was debuting. He's independent out of Kentucky versus the visionary, the people's champ, Christian Lee. Christian Lee is also Team Tyler from Newport, Tennessee. Christian has a very unorthodox style. Even but saying that, he looked really good on the ground in this fight. His stand up is kind of, not traditional. He'll throw some really unorthodox kicks, and he will land some punches from time to time inside the pocket. It was good to see Christian Lee. Christian Lee ends up beating Billy Wright, minute and 45 seconds into round number 1 by rear naked choke. Good to see Christian Lee get a win, and that's kind of how this event went. Guys who really needed a win seemed to get a win at this event, which is that's not always the case. However, matchmaking, Tim Loy, our matchmaker, did a great job of matching these guys with similar experience, similar records, and it made for an incredible night in Knoxville. Fifth fight of the night, we had the Eagle from Guardian MMA in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, versus one of Agogi's young guns, Aiden Howell. He made his debut here at Aries 20. I expected a little wrestling from the Eagle. However, that Agogi jiu-jitsu looked well, and in a minute and 48 seconds into round 1, Aiden Howell was able to pull off a guillotine choke that he had tried For quite some time, it seemed like into round number 1, but he was able to lock that down and did a phenomenal job of getting his first win, his debut win at this event, Aries 20. All right, without further ado, we'll go into the undercard. First fight of the undercard was a guy that I'm really big on, a guy that I think is going to do great things in this sport, and that's Blake Grant from Guardian MMA in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. He took on Jalen Harper from Agogi Combatives. Blake Grant 2-0, Jalen Harper with more experience 4-3. However, that pressure of Blake Grant is just a violent dude. He's just forward pressure constantly. When he goes to the ground, he's trying submission attempts constantly. If he's not trying a submission attempt, he's throwing punches. He's just not a stagnant fighter. However, Jalen Harper's jiu-jitsu looked really good. His defensive jiu-jitsu looked really good. He was able to get out some bad situations. However, into a minute and 57 seconds into round number 2, that forward pressure and that pressure of Blake Grant just eventually took over, and he won by a rear naked choke. Look for good things to come from both these guys if Jalen Harper decides to come back, which I'm sure that he will. He's got a great gym at Agogi Combatives. He's a really good fighter. If he decides to come back, I look forward to seeing him fight. Blake Grant, I think the sky's the limit for this kid. I think he's a really good prospect fighting out of the Aries fight series. I look forward to seeing him fight again. All right, going to the next bout on the undercard, we had Andrew Mills versus Cameron Stokes. Guys, when Cameron Stokes came out, being a debuter, both these guys being a debuter, I haven't heard a pop like that inside an arena in a very long time. I've never heard a pop like that for a debut fighter. Cameron Stokes, he looks the part, and as we found out, Cameron Stokes was the part in round number 1 with into round number 1, a minute and 3 seconds by TKO. Cameron Stokes was able to get this victory, this debut victory. Super proud of that guy. Andrew Mills, tough guy. He took this fight. I believe it was, it was very short notice. May have been a day, may have been, 24-hour notice, 48-hour notice, 2 days. Tough guy. Appreciate you taking on this fight. Hopefully, we get to see more of you and see you again in the Aries cage. Without further ado, Chewy Rodriguez from Agogi Combatives. In the lightweight division, he took on Tevin Bean, 0-1 from Team NKI. This was a debut for Chewy. I'd heard a lot of things about Chewy. The coaches were really big on this kid. His teammates would tell me about Chewy. I hadn't got to see him roll. I really hadn't seen anything from him, but I knew of him by how highly his teammates talked about him. The first, the way the fight went, the stand up, Tevin Bean looked like he was there. He looked like he's a stand up fighter. However, in the grappling exchanges, even when Tevin had, best case scenario, he would have Chewy's back. Chewy did a really good job of controlling the wrist, being able to spin into Tevin, and eventually locking up the guillotine choke, finishing that fight. Chewy looked really good for his debut to get that debut victory. Tevin Green goes to 0-2. However, still just the amateur circuit, brother. Seeing you again, seeing you compete, and hopefully seeing you get a victory inside the Aries cage. Next was a monumental event that took place. It was a fight against Killer Cameron Bingham versus Brandon Daugherty. This was in the welterweight division at 170 pounds. Brandon Daugherty's just had a tough go. He's 0-1. At his debut, he fought a really tough guy, Anson Phillips, a guy who holds one of our amateur belts now. But Cameron Bingham, as I was talking earlier about teammates and friends and guys that train together, they usually know a lot about, the guys they train with, and they push their guys. They're some of the biggest fans. I talked to Blake Grant about Cameron Bingham, and he told me that this guy's the real deal. Cameron was able to lock an Americana on Brandon Daugherty and pop his arm, break his arm into round number one. Speaking of that, thanks to the staff at Cotton Eye Joe, the staff at Aries Fight Series for being able to stay calm, the referee Luke Wilson for being able to stay calm, get medical attention to Brandon. I hope that he's well. Tough loss, man. Tough go. Hope you heal up soon, and look forward to, if you decide to compete again, look forward to seeing you compete. Cameron Bingham, everything your teammate Blake Grant said about you is true. Look forward to seeing you as well, brother. All right, going into the next bout. This was a heavyweight bout. Chase Belvin's debuted from Agogi Combatives versus Wes Wolf, both from London Martial Arts. London showed out at this event. Chase Belvins looks like a tank with a Ferrari engine. I knew the guy when he came in, he was going to be a handful. Wes Wolf, however, had the height, had the reach. He was able to pull off the victory against Chase Belvins. But, brother, heavyweight division, anything can happen one punch at a time. One punch can change the outcome of a fight in that heavyweight division. Look forward to seeing you compete again. Congratulations on the victory, Wes Wolf. Next was Thomas Grady. This is going forward. This is the main card, so these are all pros. Thomas Grady, 0-2, independent fighter versus Mike Douglas. Douglas found himself with an 0-4 record. Great fighter. He's built, just muscled up guy, really big for the lightweight division is Mike Douglas. Mike was able to secure a triangle choke, threw elbows down on Thomas Grady and got the victory, got his first professional victory at Aries 20. Just ecstatic, just excited for Mike Douglas, and so happy for him to get that victory. Thomas Grady, you looked really good. Jiu-jitsu looked great. You took a lot of punishment. You're able to, you ate some elbows. However, you stayed in this fight. Look forward to seeing Thomas Grady again, and I'd like to see him get his first pro win as well. However, that night was Mike Douglas's night, and congratulations, brother. The next bout, Dejon Francis, independent fighter out of New Jersey versus Paul the Phoenix Carson out of Jimmo in North Carolina. What's more to say about Paul Carson? Paul Carson trains with guys like Chris Weidman. He's just, his brother's Trucks and Carlson, uh, bare knuckle fighter. Good guy. Interviewed him a week before the fights, got to talk to him, got to talk about his amateur background at Appalachian State. Learned that he won 60 matches, won a few tournaments up there at Division One college in wrestling. So coming into this, I was, I was kind of interested why that 0-1. I think he told me he got clipped in the first fight and he was looking to get his first win. However, he had a really good opponent. You couldn't tell it by the record. Dejon Francis came in with a 0-2 record, but he looked good. He's got some street beef fights. He's a tough guy. He'll fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. And he was looking to get his first professional mixed martial arts win as well. However, the pressure and the wrestling of Paul Carson was just too much for Dejon. And Paul wins this fight. The Phoenix won this fight by decision, and I really look forward to seeing some more Paul Carson, seeing him fight again in the Aries cage. I believe Dejon retired. This was his last fight, but thank you, brother, for competing. in the air at Aries 20, and appreciate you being a game opponent. This next bout was Hannah Hannah Ellswick versus Mare Bear Mary Rosenbeck. It was a featherweight fight at 145 pounds. Uh, Hannah Ellswick was 0-3 going to this fight. Mary Rosenbeck made her professional debut at Aries 20. Good fight. I thought it was you know, Hannah was throwing that overhand right. I thought at any point she could have connected and that fight could have changed. Mary delivering great strikes. I know Jeff Powell really well. He's a good friend of mine. I know he's training Mary. I know he's been working with her for a long time. She's so calculated. She's not just a head hunter. She'll go from the head to the body. The amount of body strikes that she landed in this fight were almost too many to count. I should have watched back and tried to count that, but I'm afraid I know I don't know. That would take a lot of time because Mary threw a ton of body shots. The fight ended up going to the ground, and Mary was able to win by TKO with 4 seconds left into the first round. I know Hannah was a little upset about that, uh, but I trust Luke Wilson. He's a great referee, and I know that he made the best call. And hopefully, if Hannah would like to return to the Aries fight cage, we would love to have her. She's just a good competitor, tough girl, got a great boxing resume, great boxer, and I'd like to see Hannah get her first MMA win, professional MMA win. We go next to the next two fights, the co-main and the main event. It was AJ Let's Go Cisco versus the underdog Dusty Featherfoot Little. I had Me and Dusty traveled to Rowan Wrestling Academy to do some fighter interviews, kind of to do some promos to promote this fight. I remember when we first got to North Carolina, I didn't know if it was such a good idea because I could feel the heat between these two guys. I knew that they wanted to fight each other. I knew what was on the line. AJ desperately wanted to beat Dusty Little, and Dusty Little desperately wanted to turn his upside down record into an even record. AJ wanted to turn his even record and get it to the winning side. This fight was intense. Both guys were intense at the weigh-ins. They were intense at the stare down. They were intense when they first got in the cage. I thought AJ was about to finish the fight twice. He got Dusty in a rear naked choke, got up underneath the chin. Dusty did a great job of hand fighting. But before that, when it was on the feet, Dusty did a really good job of some unorthodox striking. He threw a front kick. He threw uh, just he threw some crazy kicks and was able to connect on AJ. AJ took the fight to the ground, got those rear naked chokes. It was unsuccessful. Dusty did a lot of hand fighting. When the fight got back to the feet, Dusty was able to get the fight back to the ground and snap on a rear naked choke of his own to AJ Cisco and win by submission. Great fight. I love both these guys. If this is the end of AJ Cisco, which I'm not sure, he didn't tell me that. Thank you, brother, for all you've done for the sport. If you decide to come back and fight, we would love to have you in the Aries Fight Series. Dusty Little, brother, so proud of you, man. And I look forward to the next chapter of the Featherfoot Dusty Little. So finally, the main event, Alex Riggs versus Carter Beekman. Carter Beekman's one of these guys that I feel like I've grown up with in this business. I remember watching him on the amateur circuit. I kept up with him. I was desperately waiting for him to turn pro. He turned pro. He got that first round knockout. I believe things, he was on the up. Carter Beekman faced just a crafty veteran in Alex Riggs in the second fight. This fight kind of got stopped before it got going. And it's not that it was an early stoppage. It's not that the referee was involved. Alex Riggs was able to snap an armbar and get the tap from Carter Beekman. However, I think both these guys have a lot left in this sport. Alex Riggs, I look forward to seeing him fight again. Carter Beekman, I know this isn't the end, and I look forward to seeing his career. Now, guys, that was 3 weekends back to back to back. We had Aries 19, we had Nashville Underground, then we came to Knoxville and finished it up with Aries 20. Thank you so much for all the fans that tuned in to Spectation Sports to watch these amazing competitors compete in this cage. Guys, thank you so much for everyone who bought a ticket and attended any of these events, whether you went to Chattanooga, whether you went to Nashville, or whether you went to Knoxville last weekend at Aries 20. We are nothing without the fans. I am nothing without the fighters. Thank you, matchmaker Tim Loy, El Presidente Jeff Hobbs. This is the Aries Fight Series. The future fights here.